you get it? Is it on?
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Taking Over the World with Ed and Aaron. What's up, buddy?
Hey, what's happening?
You excited?
I'm always excited, baby.
Let's just get right into it.
Oh, into what? You seem very excited.
Let's just get right into it.
Okay, what is it?
So I posed this question. I never got a full answer from you.
Ooh, dun dun dun.
So, as a real estate agent, because that's what we are, right? We're real estate agents? Yes, as a real estate agent. If you happen to be struggling
Okay.
to close transactions, not on a team, but at a particular brokerage.
Like 71% of agents last year? Yes. Oh, bazinga. Got him.
Bazinga. Yep, like those.
That was a true fact. That
It's
blew my
71 or
mind.
74. I think it's 74.
I think it's 71.
Okay. Well, we'll take 71.
Listen,
Either one sucks.
We're gonna average it out, 72.5%. That's quick math. I mean, I might be wrong, but
ASU.
it felt quick. It felt quick. It sounded good.
It sounded really good.
Sounds accurate.
So, if you're struggling as an agent, because we have a lot of peers and friends that seem to be in that boat, would you? Because what happens a lot is people start blaming the brokerage you're at. I'm not getting the support. I'm not getting this, or I'm not getting that, or I can't.
Anybody but themselves.
Of course, that's what
Yes.
everybody does. But let's just say that you're struggling. Would you go to your leadership at the brokerage and say, "Hey, I'm struggling"?
So you're talking like the actual broker or like the team leader or somebody like that?
Yeah. Somebody in leadership, anybody in leadership. Or would you go to your peer or somebody who's a top producer and say, "Hey, I'm struggling with this. What's your take on the market?"
Okay, this question was phrased a little bit different from this morning to now.
Okay.
It was a little bit different, and it leads me down because it leads me down a different path.
Okay, because I have an opinion, but I'm just curious, and I want to know your opinion.
Well, you can have an opinion, and I'll give it to you when you're ready for it. Okay. Okay. Your opinion counts when I give it to you.
Yes,
okay?
sir. Yes, sir. Yes,
So
sir.
I'm actually gonna go just full blown personal attachment to this.
Right.
I'm gonna go back to when I first started from a licensed agent perspective.
Okay.
Because I think I would venture to say if 72.5% of agents didn't sell a property last year, I would say 99% of brand new agents don't sell anything.
Right.
For months upon months, maybe a year.
Right.
Okay, whatever the case may be. So when I first got started, and I was kind of struggling on where the business is going to come from, how to navigate the market.
You met me, and then everything went.
Well, almost, right? So I was fortunate to be in a productivity class.
Right.
Okay, so that was huge help because I would go there for questions and answered. But I would say as I progressed and I found myself struggling, and not even struggling, maybe overthinking, like, when's the first deal? When, like,
Right.
I would definitely say of the leadership, there's people that I wouldn't have want to go to.
Okay.
Because I think you said it well. I think the person that I'm going to go look for they could be a leadership member or not, but it's probably not the broker. Like, it was probably not our team leader. It might have been the productivity coach, but I think it's a peer that has some leadership, but they're a top producer and you respect their style of how they go about it. And I know that's a long-winded way of going, but my point is this, is that there were people coming in that were supposedly top producers that were being self-proclaimed self-producers and were being pitched as top agents, right? And I didn't know any better. And I sat through some of their education trying to be like, okay, instead of going to somebody to struggle, I'll listen to these classes and class after class after class. But the more I heard from some of these people, I was like, no, I'm not doing that. Right. Like that can't be the reason I'm struggling. And whether it was just me being arrogant or, whatever it was, it's just like, that's not my style. And so I think my roundabout way of answering is that I would look for somebody in the office that their attitude, their culture, their style is something that you could see yourself doing. And then knowing that they produce at a high level, I think that's the person you go and knock on their door and you say, listen, what kind of advice can I get? Can I pick your brain for a couple minutes? Can I shadow you? Because a lot of agents may not want to be shadowed, but what kind of advice would you give me as starting off? I think that would be my first go-to. And then I would probably go to a peer. The only problems with peers is that sometimes peers are struggling too. So I don't really want to go talk to a struggling peer. I
Right.
mean, that could be a good venting session,
Well, I
but
would say like peers, even top producers, we're all peers, right?
yeah,
Because we're all in the same industry and we all do the same thing, and we're all independent contractors. The same thing. Nothing's different as far as who we are at the brokerage. We're all the same. You know, some of us are top producers, some are not, or whatever that is. But my thing is when I've had meetings with leadership over the years, and we talk about struggling. What I've seen is people that struggle blame the brokerages,
for sure.
right? And you've seen it since you've been here. You know, somebody will come here because they thought their other brokerage didn't give them what they needed, or they would move from here somewhere else because they felt that. And I always tell the leadership, the meetings I've had with them is like, why don't you have the ALC, which is the Agent Leadership Council, talk to the people that are leaving?
Right.
Because it's a better connection, I think, right? Especially if we know some of the agents, if we've gotten to know one of the, like I was talking to one of the agents this morning via text, and I know this person personally outside of real estate. I met them before they even came to our brokerage. They're not even in my downline. They're not part of our organization. But I know this person. I've talked to her several times in over the years, and I reached out and I was like, "Hey, how's it going? How's things going?" Because I was thinking of her, and she's like, "Things are okay, but I'm thinking about moving." And I'm like, "Why?" She's like, "I don't know. Maybe I need to plug in more. I'm not sure." And I'm like, "All right, let's grab a coffee, let's talk, and let me tell you how I would suggest you plug in to maximize the benefit." And her response was something to the effect is, "I respect you. I've done business with you when you were on another team, before you built your team. So I've known you for years. I respect what you're doing. I'd love for you to spend time with me."
Yeah.
And the reason I say it is because I think that people that fail in certain industries, whatever industry that is because they don't have the right mentorship or leadership. And I think some of us, I mean, regardless, 85% of real estate agents get their license the first year and walk out. That's going to happen no matter who mentors them or who does anything for them. It is what it is. If you're not doing activities and you're not doing the stuff. But if somebody wants the help, I think that's what we should do. Is we should spend the time. Like you spend a lot of time talking to people.
Sure.
And you talk to people about, hey, I do a lot of referral business, and I do referral business through social media, and this is what I do, and Facebook's my CRM, and like you go into the whole thing of how you do it, much of like what I do about how I do it, and we try to give back and try to help, but I think that there's some that struggle that just need the help and are not going to ask for it, and they just rather leave. And I'm thinking, well, why would you want to lose a person like that when you can probably push them in the direction to talk to somebody that can actually help them?
Well, and so listening to you say all that and go down that road, I think, so I go back to why I feel like our relationship blossomed is because as I started watching some of these people and with what I knew from my other business and stuff, I tried to surround myself that were like-minded people, but also doing better than I. Like,
Right.
you never want to be the smartest guy in the room, they say, right? Because you always want to
Correct.
strain. And I saw some of these people that were on ALC and leadership, and I was like, I'm still the smartest person in the room. This is not happening. I've done 0 transactions, but I can tell you I'm smarter than you because what you're saying makes 0 sense, right? And I'll never forget to this day. I remember when I first really had that conversation with you. I was like, this guy, he's hilarious. He gets it. He's straight to the point, but he cares. And I was like, I asked him, like, hey, what CRM are you using to call people? I was like, man, I got A, B, C, D, and E. And I'm thinking about adding F. And you were like, cool. No, that makes sense. That makes sense. Like, so how much did you use A? I'm like, not very much. What about B? Not as much as I should. C, haven't used it in a while, but I think I'm going to. So far I've asked you about 3. You don't use any of them, but yet you want to add another one. Cut them all out. Save yourself some money and start calling from here until you do something. I'm like, that's fair. That's 100% fair. I'm like, that is exactly something my dad would have said. And I'm like, I like this guy. He gets it. He's brutally honest, but like in a very nice way. And so I think what happens to a lot of people is it goes back to the 3-letter word. It's ego. Right? And I think that's where it all comes because People don't ask for help because they're too macho. They have too much of an ego. People don't want to talk to other people or help out because they have too much ego. They have too much. I'm not going to help you, you peasant down there. Listen, you have done one deal. Get over yourself, right? And so I think instead of jeopardizing or, taking a shot to their ego by asking for help, they always think, I'll go to the next brokerage or I'll leave your team because I've got it figured out. Then they don't do anything. They're afraid to come back. So now they jump to the next brokerage and then you start to see them, oh, I'm doing this and this. Okay, yeah, but at a fraction of the cost because you were hell-bent on being a solo agent because you were going to make 100% and you were, look at me, I'm almighty, da, 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 right? And they don't do crap because they realize how much a team brought to theirs. I'm not saying everybody needs a team, but for a handful of people, it's what you need. And then they go off because they're ready to do it on their own. And then they struggle. They can't do it. And then they're like, oh, it was the brokerage. Now they move to, Captain America brokerage, right? And they're like, I just closed 4 deals. Yeah, well, you made $17 because, you now had to pay for all these leads. You joined a team that took a bigger split. And, you're not mentioning any of that because you don't want to let your ego down. But look at me. I'm showing everybody that I overcame. No, you didn't. You put your ego. You didn't check it. You got burnt. You wouldn't come back, and now you're struggling, and you're trying to shine up a turd of a post, right? Like that's what they're trying to do. Like you're trying to shine this post up,
like totally useless items in a sword fight.
Yes, totally useless items in a sword fight. When you show up with the wrong instrument, you just got to battle, and that's what these people are doing. They find a way to make it sound like, no, I did show up with the right instrument and I will win. It's wrong, but they're trying to save face because of their ego. And I think that is the killer. When they put that aside, ask for help. How can I do this? Listen, I will gladly take a 30% referral if you just take this and run with it and let me shadow you. Right? Like, okay, so be it. I mean, that was part of the productivity class. If I was a brand new thing, I think my biggest thing is who I would go look for would be a team where there was a cultural fit and just say yes to everything. Like, just go have a yes day. Don't challenge everything.
Right.
People come in like, I got this groundbreaking idea. Here's what I'm going to do. And then we're just like, that's so dumb.
So it's funny because you brought up the 3-letter word. Yeah. And you and I talk about that word all the time. Yes. We talk about egos all the time. So, and it makes me think. So if you're not, so what would be the difference between ego and drive? Like, I'm not number one, so I gotta become number one. So is that an ego play or is that a drive play?
Listen, I'm going to go to the great philosopher Kid Rock. Kid Rock said it best. It's not arrogant if you can back it up. So I think it comes down to there is a difference between ego and drive. And ego is you telling everybody to screw off and look at me, look at me, look at me.
Right.
Right? Like I'm in the center of attention. Right? I think the drive is the person that's going, yeah, good luck. Keep whittling your hands up here. Keep doing your little jazz hands. Look at me. Watch this. Working in the dark, working in the silence, working the extra hour, making the calls that they didn't want to do, going on the for sale by owner appointments just to get experience, right? Taking showing appointments for other agents to get that experience. And it's slowly but surely, it's that ego person who maybe got a deal off the top and they're like, I'm top right now. And they're doing their jazz hands.
Right.
And that other driven person is like, okay, it's slow. It's turtle in the hair. It's exactly what it is, right?
You're just
and it's just like boom,
away.
boom, boom, boom. And then next thing you know, you just see that switch. And this person's going like, wait, but guys, remember me? Like I was top 1% of agents that born from January 2nd to January 4th in 1982 on a Wednesday, working less than 7 hours a day. Remember me? I won that award. Like, right? Like that's, and they're just like watching that person that was just like building. And it's trusting the process. Build. It's not going to happen overnight. I mean, there are some people that are blessed. You to go to the sports world. There's some guys that born out of the womb that were destined to throw 105, or spin a football or be able to hit a golf ball. You know, like there's just some talent there. And there's some people that come into this industry that are just, they have the SOI, they've been in the community so much, and they're just going to be successful because it's not because of lack of, they've been building it for years. It just, they see that instant success.
And I think that some of it, like, so some of it, I think some of determination and grit can mask abilities.
Okay.
Right? Because I don't think Tom Brady was this gifted guy that could throw the ball 100 yards.
That's fair.
But he was a grinder.
Right.
And he would practice. And, one of the famous things is he knew every year at the beginning of training camp where the Super Bowl was going to be. And in his locker, he would have path to wherever the Super Bowl was going to be. Because that was his path. He needed to get to that place. So, and he's definitely not a Patrick Mahomes that just has natural ability to throw the ball any direction between his legs, under his toes, and he manages to get a completion out of it. Mm-hmm. He was a little more grinder, but he's still the GOAT. I would say even Michael Jordan was more of a grinder than LeBron.
So,
because Jordan got cut from his high school team.
Okay.
He had to. He started playing against.
And North Carolina, didn't he? As a freshman or something?
No, he got cut in high school.
I think he got cut
North Carolina.
North Carolina,
and then he ended up playing the Pistons and got jacked every year, and then ended up deciding, hey, you know what? How do I get stronger, bigger, faster? Because these guys are going to keep beating me up, and I'm not going to be able to score. And he just became a grinder to become a GOAT. Versus LeBron that, at 15, everybody knew he was going to be the next. He was going to be the next phenom.
He was going to be the next Aaron Dalzell. Got it.
Yeah. He was going to be the next Aaron. Like he knew that
5'10" Mexican that had a 1-inch vertical. He was both of us. I think if I could compare, I would be like a Mexican John Stockton. I think that would be my basketball spirit animal.
Somebody was talking.
I think that's my spirit animal.
Somebody was talking the other day saying Dan Orlovsky was talking about in the the time off that he took for a couple weeks. He was playing basketball and he was shooting like JJ Redick and defending like I forgot who he said. And the people were like, no, maybe you shot like the defender, which wasn't a good shooter, and you defended like JJ Redick. He's like, that's who you really played like.
But here's what's funny though, because staying with that same like sports analogy, okay? So let's go just to the Patriots, this dynasty that they had under Belichick and Brady and stuff like that for whatever it was.
It was 20 years.
Okay, 20-year dynasty with them. So you're going to have your arrogant but driven, determined Tom Brady.
Correct.
Right? I think there's a difference between ego and arrogance, and I do think there is a difference, right? Like, I'm not saying that nobody else worked hard or was that guy, but how many people on that team, or let's say so many people were not on that team, outside looking in, asking to your question, hey, I play for the XYZ team. We're in the Turd Bowl every year, right? Because we're just that bad, right? And you're just like, who should we talk to? Let's talk to our peers. Yeah, my team sucks too, right? Like, but then you go talk to somebody on the Patriots. They're like, yeah, we just got a different way here, right?
Right.
And then so you start to understand what it takes to win, to be part of a winning team.
Right.
You got to pull your weight. You got to clock in. You got to do your stuff. But everybody has a different skill set. Everybody has a different role.
Right.
Now, you go back to the Patriots dynasty. How many of those guys can you rattle off that were just the big dudes in probably 30 seconds, right? You're going to name off a handful. Your Gronkowski, your Brady, right. I don't even know who else. You start to go from Edelman, there you go, right? And you start to Ryan Harris.
The McCourty brothers.
Okay, so, right, there's a handful. How many else were on those rosters that we'll never be able to name? Like, unless you go Google it, right?
Yeah, there's
so
at least probably 45 of the people.
Okay, so then my question becomes, if you're on the outside looking in, you're doing your open houses, you're doing your cold calling, but yet you're not converting. You're
Right.
not getting that win.
Right.
At what point we've seen people do it where they take less money. They take restructured deals. I'm on the Turd Bowl champion, whoever, let's call it the Browns for the sake of color. Sorry, Cleveland. Like, listen, they did not, we're going with the brown color. They stunk.
Right.
And I guess they could, they still kind of stink.
Yeah.
Okay. At what point, if I'm on the Browns and the Patriots, go like, listen, I'm willing to throw you a lifeline. I think you're a good role player. We can offer you half of what you're making at the Browns, and you get to come be part of our championship pedigree. You'll learn. You'll probably grow your career. You're not going to make quite as much money, but you'll be able to, more than likely, you're playing on the big stage. Okay? You're getting that ring. In our case, you're getting paid. You're getting in front of people. You're learning that way. So that becomes my question.
Miles Garrett asked for a trade.
So, and again, so at what point as agents we go back to ego? Who do you talk to? You talk to maybe peers on the other team. Maybe you know, I don't know if you're going to get to sit in the room with Tom Brady if you're playing for the Turd Bowl champions, right? That might be a couple connections away. But at what point are you willing to put your ego aside, sacrifice some of that salary, sacrifice some of that me? Maybe I'm a starter on Turd Bowl champions.
Right.
Maybe I now have to be second string, but I got an opportunity to grow, level up my game, and maybe compete for a first string. Because I feel like in today's age, I go look at the club ball world with our kids. If you're not first string, it's like my son Johnny. He's a shortstop and he bats third, and there's no if and or buts about it. And if you don't see that, we'll go to a new team. Peace. Have it. Go.
Did they come to you with that? That's what you say?
Absolutely. See ya. I don't need a cancer.
So if I brought you my son, I'd be like, hey, he plays this, and you just tell me to pound sand?
Oh, unless I need that position. But you're not going to come in and tell me, hey, listen, we'll come to you, but I got to be the starting shortstop and we bat three. Like, bro, man, I got a shortstop. I got a guy that bats three. Now, if you go out and outwork him and earn it and you take it from him, hey, that's on this guy, right? But that's my point is, at what point are these agents, they're so ego, me. I want my full pay. I'm not willing to split for anything. But you're not doing 100% of nothing is nothing.
Right. See, and that's kind of like, I remember when I was playing football in high school. I remember first day of practice as a freshman. I was like, where do you need starters? Like, I didn't care what position I played. Just tell me where you need a starter, where you're missing people, and that's where plug me in. So I'll figure it out.
I tell my guys that all the time, and I have this talk with Braxton all the time. I go, listen, I know where you guys think you want to play.
Right.
But listen, when you get to the high school level, when you get to the college level, I always tell them, I go, answer me this. How many shortstops start every game?
1.
How many second basemen start every game?
1.
Okay, and I go through a handful of positions. Like, how many outfielders start every game?
3.
Sounds like my chances are a lot better if I can learn how to play some outfield. I get it. You think you're a third baseman. I get it. You think you're the best shortstop in town. But if you're not cutting it, like, you better figure out another way, like you said. Figure out a way to get in the starting 9. Right. I don't care if you're the 9th batter in the MLB. You're freaking in the MLB batting 9th. Like, I don't care what spot you bat me in. I'm in that lineup.
Right.
And, like, that's why I tell them, you know, like, I was able to play baseball in college and at the next level, not because I was really good at one position. I wasn't. But I was well above average at 5 positions. And I was small. I wasn't as thick back then. You know, I could still move. I was small. I was quick. But there wasn't going to be anybody that got dirtier than me on that field. I mean, I was diving. I was laying out. I mean, because I knew what I had to do. Like, I couldn't go be a Tom Brady. I couldn't throw, you know, the spiral down the field. But maybe I was that Edelman guy,
couldn't
right?
throw like me, right?
Yeah, bro. That is still out. Still out for verification. But, you know, like, maybe I'm that Edelman. I'll go across the middle, take my lumps. I'll have to do what I have to do to get on the field.
Right.
And I think agents today, they like to say they'll do what they need to do to close a deal. If you were, then you would find something like, listen, I can't get people to get to my open house. Okay, let us fill your open house.
Right.
You convert them, and we'll figure out a deal. Or vice versa. You can pack it, but you can't close it. Okay? Let's work out a deal.
Right.
You know?
Interesting.
So that's where I think it all is. And again, it all stems from ego, and, you know, then people think, like you said, the grass is greener on the other side. And
so I'm a little disappointed.
Ooh, talk to me. In?
I was expecting a little tussle this weekend.
Oh, there was no tussle to be had. There was some, there was some high alertness in some soccer games this weekend. We were anticipating some fireworks, but cooler heads prevailed, and
No, I wasn't expecting that.
yeah,
I was hoping some tussles were coming.
it wasn't that bad. No. So we got away with. There was no tussles.
You survived.
There was no tussles. We'll leave it at that.
You survived. You survived tussle free.
Yes, but I did realize something this weekend, that there's a lot of people out there that should not be coaches.
Okay.
In real estate, probably in every industry.
Okay. Explain.
I saw a situation where I was pretty disappointed in an adult.
You were disappointed.
Yeah. And
that's pretty hard because you've been in this coaching thing for a while.
yeah, and again, some people will probably have a different take on it. And I think there's a time and place for everything. Right? There's a time and place where you got to throw your foot down, you got to take a shot, you got to level somebody out. There was USA versus Canada, the Four Nations. There was a time to puck drop and throw hands, right? Like there's a time and a place for everything. And I think if you do it in I hate to say like violence or whatever, like in the spirit of the game, but it wasn't like out to kill anybody. Like, fighting is part of hockey, right? It is what it is. So I think that was built up, and they had to go. Then we saw some really. I've never been more involved in a hockey game ever, but this weekend I saw, at a certain level, I saw a kid get into a rundown situation, and he was on the other team, and this kid absolutely go out of his way, throw a high elbow at our kid's neck face area, knock him over while trying to be tagged. Completely, it would be like a blindside hit in football or hitting somebody behind the back in football, right? Like completely uncalled for. And my coach said, he's like, every time to this kid, he's like, every time, man, you do this is how you play every time. And looking at the coach, and I'm just like, dude, what a Bush League coach to just allow that to happen. The umpires even pulled the kid aside, like, dude, you're lucky you're not thrown out of this game. Like, right? It's not like he broke anything, but there's just, you were spent. You got screwed.
So the coach yelled every time.
Our coach did.
Your coach
at him every time.
Coach,
nothing, absolutely nothing. And so it just made me realize, like, just because you're a coach doesn't mean you have all the answers, and we shouldn't follow you. You need to find a cultural fit. I waited. I kind of kept my mouth shut a little bit. I think they told the boys is if that's how they want to go, like finish it. I think I yelled I would take that personally across the field to them. I said I would take that personal if I were you guys, and challenge them to step up. And I didn't mean like go retaliate or anything like that.
Did you beat the pants off of them?
I know we ended up losing,
shit.
Which didn't help the situation. But I waited.
That's not good.
I walked over to coach first base, and they were on the first base side, and I was just waiting for the coach to say one thing, just to tell him I was like, absolutely Bush League, and you should be embarrassed to let that happen. Now, here again, talking to my son, he's like, yeah, man, we were mad. Like, we were going to hit the kid next time, or we're going to fight him. I'm like, bro, first of all, you ain't fighting nobody. Like, go get your sister if you need a fight. Like call her, right? And I was like, listen, that's not the place. Like, in old school baseball, I remember growing up in high school, man, you do something like that, that next batter is wearing it. Absolutely wearing it. I mean, no ifs, ands, but, and it should be expected, like back in the day.
They still expect it.
I still think, people are softer these days, but like I told him.
So you didn't hit him?
No. And you know what was sad is that I went to talk to the pitcher before he came up next time, just purely because it was the right time. He had just walked a guy, and I'm walking back, and I see the kids up. I'm like, Jesus. It's like, if we hit this kid right now, everybody in the world's going to think I went out there and told him to smoke him. I was waiting for the first pitch. I was like, dear baby Jesus, don't hit him. Dear baby Jesus. But I did tell my son, I said, listen, the era I grew up. Who was pitching? We were. I'm not going to tell you who it was.
Was it your son?
No.
Okay.
But I told him on the way home because we talked about it, and I said, listen, where I grew up, the kid gets hit or the next guy get hits. He goes, yeah, I would have hit him in the head. I said, absolutely not.
No.
I said, if you're going to go down the unwritten rules of football or baseball or hockey, right? Not that I'm promoting all this, like, don't spin me, all right? But I said, back in the day, you just aim.
Hip check.
You aim for their hip. Yeah, you aim for the backside of their butt, because typically when you see a ball coming, you back up. it hits them in the butt or the middle of the back. I said, you stay away from the head. You don't go high. You don't go low. You put it square on their butt or right in the middle of their back. And I said, and you better not miss because you only get one shot.
That's it.
If you miss them on the first one, you don't get to go back. I said, you don't come in hard. You're not out there to hurt anybody.
You don't come in hard?
Oh, I came in. I used to go hard.
Yeah, everybody comes in hard. In the pros, they come hard.
I played a little angry.
Did you?
Yeah.
So you'd come in hard pitching.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and sliding on the bases. Oh.
So if you had to hit somebody, like if it was an unwritten rule that you felt you needed to get somebody hit.
Yeah, I'll put it in the middle back. Yeah.
Middle back.
Yeah.
Hard as you can.
Yeah.
Fastball.
Yeah.
Like just take it.
Yeah.
Did you ever get charged?
No. But I've been hit a lot too. I've been on the receiving end of it. I mean, I definitely remember us coming in before and like we hit one of their guys and stuff, and you come in and you're like, oh yeah, you're all fired up, and you're like, all right, who's up first? You're just looking at it. Ah, damn it! You're just like, it's me. And you might as well go up with no bat. But like I said, back in the day.
It was an unwritten rule.
Did it if you do it the right way, and I'm sure you could go interview tons of pitchers from like the old school way. Yeah, like it's not you're trying to hurt them, but you are trying to
You're sending a message.
You're sending a message that hey, we ain't gonna back down for you because it's it's like a bully or like or they say a barking dog. You hit him on the nose with a newspaper or something. It's like a bully. Or like Mike Tyson said it best. Everybody's got to plan until they get punched in the face, right? So if a bully hits you and they're trying to set the tone. You got to set the tone back, or else you're in for a long day. I
always wondered about that because if let's say you had the second baseman, right? What position would you say typically is the biggest guy?
I would say stereotypically, you're going to see third base, first base, or the catcher. Nowadays, I think the catcher is getting smaller and more athletic.
Right.
I think right now you're probably seeing the biggest guys playing first and third.
Okay, so let's say you got a third baseman, right? That hits one of your guys, like whatever, tags him out, goes to throw, hits him in the back, whatever. So now you're gonna retaliate.
Only if it was like a dirty, cheap
it was
play.
A dirty play.
Okay.
He did it on purpose.
Okay,
like he wanted to send a message that this is my base, you're not coming around here.
Yeah.
And if you do, you're not gonna score, or I'm gonna make your life miserable.
Yeah.
Do you, if the next person up is like Juan Pierre,
okay,
the smallest outfielder known to mankind, would you take it out on him?
Yes. Absolutely.
You didn't even hesitate.
Absolutely. Next guy gets it. Eye for an eye. You don't get an you don't get a cheap shot like to the punch to the back of the head like in boxing or something, or a nut shot,
right.
and then wait 4 rounds to retaliate, do you? No, next punch. Sorry, Juan, tell your boy. And that's sometimes where your boy's like, your Juan's like, bro, thanks.
I wonder how many times.
You got me hit. See this? That's because of you. Thanks.
I wonder how many times like people that didn't have anything to do with the play would walk up and be like,
"Oh, it happened to me." That's what I'm telling you. That's why.
My God,
that's why you would come in.
Jacked.
That's what I'm saying. Like you would come in off the field and you'd just be like, "Bro, retaliation is coming." Like that was aggressive. We hit their guys. There was some chirping, blah blah blah. And then you're like, "Oh man, all right, our turn's up." Like, man, who's up first? Then you're just like looking. You're like.
So there's many times you walked out knowing you were going to get jacked.
There was plenty of times I stepped in the boxes like,
did you ever
get a mouthpiece and put that in, let's go. Like,
did you try to avoid it or you just took it like a man?
No, you just take it because I think then it sends a message to your team too.
Like, I know it.
But you better not rub it though. Man, I mean, it's but that's how the games are played a little different. And, and then both teams are kind of like you tip your cap to each other, kind of like USA and Canada did.
Right.
They went out 3 fights in 10 seconds and then they played a hell of a hockey game.
Right.
And, I bet they're probably, some of them may be enemies for years of competing, but like at the end of the day, they probably were like, yo, respect, and that's kind of how, that's kind of how it is. So it is what it is.
All right, buddy. So it's going to be a good week.
Yep.
We're going to be busy.
I'll thump somebody.
There you go.